welcome you to the December 20th episode of Laid Back History's 2024 Advent Calendar, brought to you by the National Road Heritage Corridor. Let's see what we're talking about today. We are currently making our way up the Summit Hill out of Hopwood up to the top where the Summit Inn is. For 3 years, between 1913 and 1915, there was an annual Summit Hill climb where racers would come from all around to have time trials racing up from the foot of the hill, up the winding road to the very top where the Summit Inn is. Yeah. They raced Mercedes, they raced Model Ts, they had Packards, they had Pierce Arrows, ranging from between 20 horsepower to at the most about 65 horsepower. But these were tuned cars that they were racing up this treacherous hillside. If anybody has driven on it, you know that it's not great to drive on now, let alone then, in cars that were not made for racing. The Morning Herald in 1915 said, "The treacherous mountain road is considered the nation's greatest hill climb." And it was the idea of a gentleman by the name of George Titlow. George Titlow saw that winding road heading up to the summit and thought, we need to race that. We need to race on that. Motor racing by 1912 was really growing. The first motor race was actually back in 1867. Steam engines were raced, basically. But as modern cars like the Model T were built, the idea started to grow and it was becoming more and more popular. So George Titlow wanted to bring racing to Uniontown, and he envisioned a race up the Summit Hill. So they would start at the base of it and race to the summit. And so in 1913, they held the first Summit Hill climb, and it ran to 1915, with 1915 really being the best year, where you had Indy champion Ralph De Palma come, and he was going to show what real racing was, and he was actually defeated by local speed king Charlie Johnson, and not just defeated, soundly defeated by 17 seconds. So that was a heck of a difference. Following the 1915 race, the Pennsylvania Department of Safety decided that the race was too dangerous, it was too treacherous, and they outlawed it. And it was at that point that a group of local people got together and said, well, we're not going to let racing die here. And so they decided to build a raceway. And that is actually what we're going to be talking about on the 23rd. It was one of the suggestions that I got. I had several people ask about the raceway in Hopwood. And so we're going to talk about that racetrack on the 23rd. So definitely tune in for that. I also want to do more on the Summit Hill climb. It's a really fascinating story to me. And so I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing a full Laid Back History episode on it and the racetrack at some point. But for now, thank you for joining me for another episode of Laid Back History's 2024 Advent Calendar, and I will see you tomorrow.